Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders Draft Declared franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in the last episode, we had another unsuccessful playoff run, and it's starting to become a major problem with this team, is just being able to get past the second round. I honestly don't know what the reasoning why we don't get past the second round is, because I've had a lot worse teams make it past the second round before in franchise mode, so it's a little bit annoying at this point, but I am still impressed with some of our players obviously we've had on our team, but we need to find a way to be more consistent when it comes to the playoffs. Regular season, we've definitely proven ourselves to being a good team, but for some reason into the playoffs we just can never find that stride, because if we go even to looking at like player stats here from our playoff run, Mauricio Wilm has been consistently a good player in the playoffs, but our team has never managed to play more than 13 games in a playoff run when he's been playing. So the entire time we've made the playoffs, we've never played more than 13 games, which is really bad. And the last time we made 13 games was 5 seasons ago. So we need to get to a point where we could actually win more games and get to that Stanley Cup Finals at least one time in the series. But with Wilm being 33 years old, he's going to be likely on decline soon, which means our hopes are going to be starting to go down further and further, and that window might close very quickly, which is not great. So I'm hoping that obviously this offseason we're able to maintain the roster for the most part, maybe make a couple subtle adjustments like coaching wise or in the lineup, and hopefully that's what his team needs to turn a corner and get past that second round. Because if we get past that second round, honestly, that might be our Stanley Cup win. If we never win a cup, if we get out of the second round, I'll be happy with being able to get to at least the conference finals, but I still would like to get ourselves a Stanley Cup. We have 2 President's Trophies, which is nice, but like I said, the President's Trophies don't really matter. The Stanley Cup is the one that matters. So hopefully we could get that either this coming season or in a future season. But hopefully Wilm, Lehman, all those older type of guys on our team, Ahinen, don't start to drop off too fast, because if they do, that's just going to make us worse and worse, and we're probably going to end up starting to miss the playoffs at that point, which is not ideal. So anyways, before we get into this draft and resign stage, let's get into our entire offseason, actually, for that matter. Let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say. So the first couple are from Logan May. The first one says, number 1, so you still need a second line center, maybe Richter can. Number 2, a puck moving defenseman. Number 3, keep your DFD split up because they kill your offense. Maybe look at pairs of forwards to play together, Wilm and Lassick, Lehman and Ahinen, Richter and Del Rivera. Use the other forwards to move up and down in your lineup. And I kind of like that strategy with the lineup, in a sense, is coming up together with some good pairings. So that way we could kind of have like our offense split up a bit, and then the other guys could be just thrown out through wherever line they want, and we could see what works and what doesn't. But having guys like Wilm and Lassick together definitely has worked out well in the past, so we'll probably keep them together. Lehman and Ahinen makes sense, because considering those two guys have played on the top line for a long time in their career, they definitely should have a good chemistry by now. And then Richter and Del Rivera is kind of an interesting one, because Del Rivera has been here for quite a while at this point, but he is one of the younger guys on the team. And then you have Richter, who has just made the NHL this season, and he's been a pretty good goal scorer up to this point already, with 29 goals in his rookie season. He does have the very good shooting category, so I might end up locking him up long term in this offseason, just because that way we have a guy that is young, that is signed for long term, because eventually his asking price is just going to go up and up if he continues to play like he did during the season. So I think it's good to probably just bank on his contract early, and that way we have a young player signed till like he's 30 or something like that, and don't have to worry about his contract just getting worse. Also, Logan says, Booz and Richter are both reasonable. Sign the boys. So yeah, Richter and Booz will probably do the 8-year extensions, I think it was what I was looking at the end of the last episode. I honestly don't remember because it's been a few days, but I'll definitely give them good extensions. That way we have them in place for future seasons. The next comment is from Souls, who says, time for a coaching change, maybe a defensive-minded coach. I wouldn't sleep on the DFD. We need to keep the puck out of the net. I know they don't sim sexy, but I always like having a stud DFD in my top 4. I still believe. And yeah, with that, and also what Logan was saying, I probably will split up the DFDs, because for some reason they just didn't really do that well in the playoffs. But splitting them up and putting them maybe next to a good two-way defenseman, so one of them next to Boys if we bring him back this offseason, one of them next to whoever the other two-way defenseman we have in our lineup is. I think it definitely could do a lot better, but obviously putting them next to each other, for some reason, it just didn't seem to work this year, but it had worked during the regular season. The next comment is from Flame Husky, who just has a bunch of cheese emojis, and yeah, we basically got cheese because we were definitely the better looking team, I think, on paper, but for some reason the Islanders were able to find their way to beating us. And I think didn't they go to the Stanley Cup Finals, or am I just like completely forgetting? Honestly, it's been a while, like I said. Yeah, they went all the way to the finals, lost to the Calgary Flames, so yeah, somehow they managed to beat, though, the first 3 teams that they played in a very quick succession. You can see that they went 12-2 all the way to the Cup Finals, only to win 2 games in the finals and lose in 6. So I think if we would have been able to get past them, we might have had a chance with the Rangers. I don't know what they look like at this stage. And then honestly, who knows about Calgary, because we've never played them either, because we've never been to a Cup Finals. And then our last and final comment, which is a long one, is from Ian.Nolove, who says, I feel like you knew that was going to happen, as from the first minute you were kind of sad, like upset with something. I don't know. I'd suggest something. Number 1, keep Boys, Richter, Flood, Mathieu, and Anderson and McLaren for decent prices, 85% tricks, and let go of Addison, Buzaz, and Ponikarovskis as their potentials are meh. Number 2, kind of still feel bad for the AHL. You didn't pay attention to the fact that they might win a cup. Obviously, they need chemistry down there, so try my advice, bringing coaches, head coach A overall plus, high teaching, associate with high influence, assistant with high penalty kill power play, and goalie coach with A teaching. Number 3, I feel like you need to keep the core together, because it seems like overall wise, youngsters are not ready to reach for the NHL bound. 4, he has some line projections, so Lehman, Del Rivera, Wilm, Sidu, and Paco. Number 2, Lassick, Ahinen, Hamalainen, Boys, and Kolsnik. Number 3, Weber, Richter, Haken, Booz, and Flood. And then he says, try to maintain the chemistry and good overall stats across the special teams too. 5, I feel like you need to spend a little bit more time for your drafting, this time off camera, sorting by potential and gems, checking the grades for abilities and ETAs so you can find the best prospects possible. And then finally he says, nothing tragic and critical happened. Hard work will sooner or later pay off. Don't despair, Snipe. Believe in yourself and in your team. We'll see. Maybe in the coming season, Burkov will generate an X factor, and the team will find the key to be dominant in the playoffs. Love. Thank you for that, Ian. And yeah, that long comment, let's just go break it down a little bit. Let me, because I normally break it down after each point, but the first part, what he was saying about basically keeping Boys, Richter, so on and so forth, he did say about keeping Flood, which to me I don't think I'm going to do. Felipe Flood was kind of, his asking price is getting higher and higher, and one thing that I want to do is, even though they're kind of weaker, is inject some guys from the minors again. So guys like Cracknell maybe gets a better crack at the lineup, pun intended. There's also guys like Mangone, who should be probably back in the lineup. He was in the lineup a few years ago, and he should be back in the NHL to replace Flood. So I think Flood honestly might be on his way out, but keeping Boys definitely is a priority, because obviously that defensive core drops off drastically if we don't get him back. So I would like to try and get Boys back as much as possible. Richter, we're obviously going to be doing a good contract too, because he's an RFA. Anderson as well. And McLaren might come back as a depth defenseman, so that way we could still keep, like, if we wanted to keep Cracknell in the minors, we could. And he was saying to let go of Addison, which was an interesting one. Addison was our best AHL player this season. He might be only a 76 and such. His asking price was high too, so I probably won't bring him back. But you can see he had a really good AHL season last year with 77 points, also 25 points in the AHL playoffs, so he actually did relatively well. But at the same time, he's not really that great of a depth forward for the NHL team. And he was saying that I didn't really pay attention much to the AHL. I think I did, though, because I did bring in a bunch of coaches last offseason to help out the AHL team. I adjusted their lines throughout the regular season, and they had a really good team going into the playoffs, but for some reason they just end up losing. I don't think it was because of lack of showing them or lack of adjusting their lineup and all that stuff. I think they had good enough chemistry to win a Calder Cup, but they came up just short, unfortunately. So obviously I'll keep addressing them going forward in terms of like who's on the power play and all that stuff, but I don't think I didn't spend enough time on them this season. And then he was also saying those to keep the core together, which obviously we're going to be doing, because obviously if we blow it up too much right now, we'll definitely not win a Stanley Cup before the end of the series. Also, those line projections, we'll maybe look at those once we get to the start of the season. And then he was saying, though, about drafting off camera and stuff like that, like looking at the draft. I have not had the time to do that, and I don't really have the time to do that. But obviously, when we get into the draft itself, I'll probably start looking a little bit more at player overall potentials and stuff like that before we draft. But that's not going to necessarily guarantee that we're going to make a good choice still with our pick, because we've had really weak draft classes, and I think that's also part of the problem. We do have a good scouting pool, because I know you were guys were mentioning about bringing in good scouts and stuff like that. Our scouting pool is actually pretty solid, because you can see here we have a bunch of A-rated scouts and a bunch of B. We'll definitely look for more of them this offseason to hopefully make our scouting pool even better. But we should be getting good results with our scouting going forward. And yeah, that's basically what he said. Let's get into this draft and re-sign stage now. I honestly don't know what we're looking at draft-wise, but we definitely will take a little bit more time looking at our picks and making sure we're making as good of selections as we can. Obviously, they could still be crap players, but we'll definitely try and get the best ones that we possibly can. And then, yeah, re-sign stage and stuff-wise, it's going to be interesting to see how much money we have to spend on our pending free agents. And then, obviously, free agency-wise, we'll probably not even bring in any former players unless we have the cap space to do so. If there is even anybody available, that is. But let's see. So where are we drafting again? Because I honestly don't remember. It's probably like 22nd, right? 24th. Okay. See, one thing that's also a little bit painful with this team is we don't really know what our weakness is, because according even to the depth charts in this game, we are an A+ in everything. Yet we haven't been able to get out of the second round. So it's just all about, I think, finding the right coach or something like that to get this team to that next round. We'll probably go for the best available coach if he fits us, and hopefully he's a defensive-minded coach, because I think you guys are right. Maybe it would be good to get a defensive-minded coach to make us simulate a bit better defensively, but hopefully there's good chemistry on the offensive side of things as well, because our team definitely, I think, is built up more around the offense than it is the defense. So anyways, let's take a look at this top 5 of the draft. So Washington at number 1 is going to take Mayorov, who is a right-wing playmaker. Sergei Mayorov, oh my goodness, I almost said Morozov for some reason. And I can't even go down to see his stats, so I guess we didn't even scout this guy out at all, which is interesting. Ottawa at number 2 is going to take Harper. Colby Harper, two-way defenseman, looking decent. A lot of those medium elite two-way defensemen don't really even develop that well. Like, Boyes was a high-up pick, but he's not become that great defenseman so far. He's been okay, but he hasn't been insane. Afanaganov goes 3. Ruslan Afanaganov. Really good shot power with this guy. Might be more of like a Shea Weber defenseman in that sense, but he is a bit small to be like Shea Weber, so maybe not. Boston at 4 is going to take Shannon, who's another two-way defenseman. He does actually have an X factor for 76, which is interesting. So there is Reed Shannon. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to take Fraser, who's a 74 medium elite. This draft class is definitely not looking too strong again, especially considering these medium elites, most of them are not NHL ready. Like, I'd say these 3 are, but these last 2, these guys are like AHL type of players right now. So kind of weird. Kind of weird indeed. Let's sim to our pick at 24 and see if we can get lucky here. We are also going to use one of our timeouts already, just because we're going to make do our due diligence with this first pick and hope that we actually get somebody good, because I want to make a good selection here. But it's going to be definitely kind of tough. Because, like, see, this guy has good shooting, good puck skills potentially, but his skating, his physical, his defense senses don't look really that great. Like, he's probably a top 9, but he is 3 years out, so he might be top 6. We'll pin him in case. There's also Ahinen, who looks, I'd say, better. Yeah, Ahinen would be technically my pick over Silvestri. Because if we look at his stats, like, he looks much better in terms of, like, the offensive categories. The defensive stuff don't look that great. He is 3 years out as well, so he's probably a top 6 as well. Defensively, we do need more defensemen. This guy looks pretty balanced as well. He might be only a medium 6, though, which is not what I'm looking for at this stage, so we'll probably not go for him. There is Komatov, who has good shooting, good puck skills, good physical, 3 years out as a top 6 forward. Might have 1 T, so I'd say right now Komatov might be better than Ahinen. Yeah, I think so. And I feel like he might be more... Actually, I don't think he's going to be a power forward. The physical attributes are probably wrong. Yeah, he's probably actually a playmaker based on that size. We're definitely not going for a top 9, but this guy honestly, wait a sec. Both these guys have almost the exact same attributes, so they both actually might be medium top 9. Like Komatov might not be a top 6. That's a bit of a risk. So maybe we'll keep Ahinen on our pinned list in case. Let's keep on looking here just to see what's out here, and we'll also sort by potential because I know you guys say that I don't do that enough apparently. 4 years out on this guy. I don't think he is going to... that 4 year out is interesting, but I don't think he's a bottom 6 forward supposed to go this early. I feel like this guy could be a low elite if he's 4 years out, but he could also be very bad because he doesn't look that good. But 4 years out makes me feel like he could be a low elite, but he might not be that good of one. Tyrone Galena doesn't look that great either. These guys we don't even have scouted at all, so I'm not even going to look at them. Kirk Boss might be a medium elite goalie, but we already have a couple in the AHL at the moment. Jeffrey Brennan looks pretty good, and he might be a top 6, so Brennan might be on my short list here. Anybody else? Willie Wild, what a name. Miles Pajot, Yeah, this class is not looking the best. Turgeon looks kind of bad, to be honest, too. Yeah, I don't think this draft class is going to do us that well. There is that medium top 4 DFD gem, but he is 4 years out. I don't think he's worth a high up pick, potentially. But we do need more defensive prospects, so Eugene Barry could be intriguing. Cam Beats looks pretty decent too, to be honest. Like, I would reach for him, maybe. But like a lot of these guys are not even guaranteed what their potential is. Low top 4 is not great. Let's just see if there's any low leads supposed to go kind of early on, maybe. I don't think there was though. Let's see. No, there's no guaranteed ones in this draft. So yeah, we're definitely not going to try and go for one of these guys, I don't think, unless one of them has crazy attributes, which I am not. Oh, there's one. Oh, that's Brennan again. We've seen Brennan multiple times. Brennan honestly could be our pick based on how he looks. Trying to look at all these attributes and see who actually looks really good and who doesn't. Some of these goalies are pretty good, but obviously those are late round picks that are probably low potential, high overall guys. That's my guess. They're also overagers too. Yeah, I don't know exactly who I want to go with here, but let's take a look at our pin guys at this point. So we have Ahinen, who looks decent. Let's take a look at the other guys comparison wise. I'd probably lean towards Ahinen over Komatov almost in a sense, but I'm not 100% sure. Because Komatov's weakness is guaranteed, and he doesn't have any compared to Ahinen. Yeah, maybe I would still lean towards Komatov over him. Brennan looks pretty balanced. Does also play both wings, which is kind of nice. You also have Cam Beats, who is looking a little bit worse. Yeah, a little bit worse, I'd say. And we also have Eugene Barry. He doesn't look really that great. So, I think what I'm going to do here, if we look at these two, I would probably rather Brennan over Cam Beats, and I'd probably rather Komatov over Ahinen. So I think it's down to these two guys, because Barry would probably be a better second round pick, but I don't think we even have a pick at that spot, so I'm probably not going to be able to get him. So I'm just going to unpin him. But I think it's between these two guys here. I'm just trying to think of what we want better. So there's 2 B minuses and an A. This one 3 B minus, or yeah, 3 B minuses, a B potentially, a D and a C. No D's on Komatov. Komatov might have an X factor. Brennan might not. Brennan is 17. Komatov is 17. 3 years out. 3 years out. Both similar. No, not both similar to Parise. They both have the exact. Oh, no, they don't actually have the same scheme fit. Overload, block, balanced. Trying to think. I might honestly go for We have a lot of centers though. We don't have a lot. Actually, no, we have a lack of centers. That's right. Ooh, that actually might make my decision a little bit easier. We are down to the final few minutes of this selection, so I think with our pick we're going to take Komatov because we have a lot of wingers. We do need more centers, so Marcus Komatov, you're going to be our selection here. Medium top 664. Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly where he should probably be going, considering the other picks before us are all 64s as well. So I think we actually made a good choice. Obviously, that took a while to make our decision, but here he is. He's a sniper. He has some good shooting attributes. Not the best face-off stats, but I'm hoping that we could develop that. But this guy might once again turn into more of a winger, but we do get ourselves Komatov. Let's take a look at what the other guys were looking like if they do go. Silvestre was a 63, so a little bit worse than Komatov. Ahinen was also a 64. So we couldn't really have gone wrong almost with some of these picks, it looks like, because they're all right around the same. What else we got here? Kolosov was a 59. I think I knew that he was a medium 9. No. Ulanov was, I think, the gem, right? Was he the gem? I don't remember, but he's a medium 4. What else we got here? Abdulkader's medium 9. Kerslake's medium 6. Oof. Vishnovsky medium 9. Yeah, see, there was a couple guys that we could have missed out on, or took instead, which were not that great. Let's see what the last pick in that first round was. Let's see. Galena was a medium 9. Let me just sim a couple more picks here. Oh my goodness, that medium elite goalie would have been nice, but I know you guys are probably going to be like, why didn't you draft the goaltender? We have already like 2 AHL goalies, the same overall, the same potential. Maybe not as young, but Kirk Boss might be a boss for the Washington Capitals. It would have been nice to draft him for sure, but we have so much like elite goalies right now that I don't necessarily feel like it's necessary to add to our pool of them. We definitely want to just more address our needs, which obviously finding a good goalie in the playoffs would be a good thing, but I think defense is a priority, and obviously our center depth is a priority, so I don't mind our pick still. Let's see what else here. McCult was medium 4. Wild was medium 4. Offensive defenseman, but how good of one? And maybe a bit of a more of a project one, but that would have still been a kind of a cool one to have. Willie Wild. Cameron was medium 6. What else we got here? Brendan was a 64 top 6 as well, so we couldn't have really gone wrong with our selection. Let's sim to our next pick here at 57 and do our due diligence here, and see if there's anybody intriguing. We probably won't spend as much time looking at these picks, but we might have to a bit. So a couple B stats, not bad. This guy's definitely worse. We'll definitely pin Devo for now since he's the better of the options. Jalen Wellwood has a couple Bs. Might honestly take Jalen Wellwood. He could be a low elite, which would be nice. Looking at these other guys, probably wouldn't take Lamb. Not sold on Pedersen. Trying to see here. This guy might be decent too. Ryder O'Brien. Low 6 though, guaranteed. Braden Santlak doesn't look terrible either. We'll pin him. He's from Croatia, which is kind of cool. Schofield, 4 years out, no weakness. Might be decent as well. He's also a center. Anybody else maybe around the spot? This guy also looks pretty decent too. Glenn Snyder. Might be a couple of good centers here in this next round, which is kind of nice because that's, like I said, an area we need to address a little bit. And then other than that, this guy's listed as a gem, but he is a low 6, so I'm not going to take him. Not going to take a low 6, I don't think, like at this spot. So let's take a look at our pin, boys. And we have, starting off, I'm going to have to take another timeout. Damn, I didn't realize that time goes down so quick. Jeez. Okay, let's go to our make our selection here. Look at our pin guys and see who we would take here. So Ryder O'Brien has 2 B minuses, or let's just say 2 Bs for now. DeVoe has 2 Bs. Quinton Schofield might have 3. So if I was taking somebody, Schofield would probably be the better selection over these 2 guys. My guess. Wellwood has 2 Bs as a defenseman, which is a bit different, so we're going to have our defensemen separated differently. Snyder also has 3 Bs, so him and Schofield would probably be the better of the 2 options for forward. And then Wellwood and Sanlak both have 2 Bs as well as defensemen. So if we wanted to go for a center, Schofield, let's take a look at this more in depth here. He has 2 B minuses and a B. Snyder has 3 potential B's and a B minus. I think Snyder would be the better pick over Schofield. But he is only a medium 9 guaranteed. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I don't know about having a high overall medium 9. I'd rather take a chance on maybe one of those other guys, but there's no guaranteed good potential. This guy might be a medium 9 as well as the thing. Yeah, I think I would rather actually Snyder over Schofield, even if he is a medium 9. And in terms of defensemen here, we got B minus and a B on this guy. Sandlack has a B and a B minus as well. But then 4 C's related stats. How about Wellwood? Wellwood has a D potential though. 3-year guaranteed. 4-year guaranteed on Sandlack. 17 years old, 18 years old. Sandlack is guaranteed though to be an offensive defenseman. That's the interesting thing, but he could be a low 4, which is not great. And then Wellwood could be a low elite, which would be nice. I think I'm leaning towards this this defenseman Wellwood, just because Sandlack, I feel like he might be a low 4. I mean, they both might end up being low 4s, and then we're gonna look dumb, but I think Wellwood has a higher chance of being a low elite because of the fact that he's got 1 bar low elite. This guy has 3 bar medium 7th. So I think it's between these two, Wellwood and Snyder. I'm leaning towards Snyder almost, but he's a medium 9. Looks like face-offs might be actually a strength of his. I don't think medium 9s develop super well, but he might be a power forward, which is interesting. And we also need, like I said, center help. But do I take a chance on Wellwood that he's actually a low elite defenseman? He's a big guy. He'd be like a low elite DFD probably, because he doesn't really have the offensive tools. He just has a good shot. Yeah, he's likely a DFD for sure. And Snyder, based on his attributes, goal scoring, offensive instincts, and faceoffs, could be a power forward, but he's also a bit of a smaller guy. But he does have good physicals, so oh boy, this is a tough decision. We only got 3 minutes to decide Wellwood or Snyder. I am going to go with I'm going to go with Snyder here, because I don't know if Wellwood for sure is a low elite. I think it's a major risk. We know at least this guy's medium 9, and he could be a potential guy to help us out face-off wise. I know medium 9s usually don't pan out, but since he's a second rounder, there's a higher chance he might. So Snyder is going to be our pick. 63 overall, medium top 9. That's pretty solid actually of an overall out of gate. Decent shooting. Yeah, he might develop into being something for us. How was his face-off? 68. Not really a strength, I would say, of his, but there was low 4s going before him, so I feel like those defensemen were low 4s. Pedersen, I think we were looking at low 4. What else we got here? Wellwood was a low 4, okay. And a DFDC, so I think we might have got the better selection because a lot of low 4s don't really pan out. We have Lamb on low 6, DeVoe on low 6, Jones on low 4. Yeah, I think we made an okay pick. I think this draft class, though, definitely is not super great in terms of depth, though. So hopefully we could somehow find ourselves some low elites. O'Brien was low 6. Huh. Damn, yeah, this draft class, I don't know if it's a good one. Okay, our next pick, we probably won't take as long with our next few picks because this draft class is dipping off a lot. But let's take a look at what we got here. So Baikov, don't see any Bs. There is a B with Torres, so we'll pin him for now. Ooh, Jay Milson, he is 20 years old. That's the only problem. But he might be pretty high overall for a 20-year-old. But that might also not be that great. Gertson doesn't look really good. Jukka Heikkila is 19 years old. Looks pretty decent for a top 9. Trying to see what else we got here. Hopefully there's some defensemen here at this stage. Ooh, this guy might be intriguing. 2-bar medium elite. Don't know for sure if he's medium elite, but he is 20 years old as well. We'll pin him. Tiny Hillen, what a name. I don't know if we're going to be able to find any good defensemen in this draft, to be honest. So once again, we might have to just keep with our current defensive system. Raymond Boss, there's another Boss in this draft. 4 years out. Might be medium 6, weakness and character. Oh, this goalie's looking pretty good out of the draft, but he's a guaranteed fringe starter. He's probably like a 73 overall fringe starter, which is not bad. Might be somebody that's useful. But, 2 years out of 17 is pretty good, though. I don't think I would take a goalie, to be honest, though, because we have so much of them. But whoever is going to get Cannone is going to be happy with their selection. I almost feel like taking Cannone because we have so much elite goalies that they don't usually sim that well. But I don't know. Let's take a look at what we got here pinned. So Cannone, we have Milson, who's a 20-year-old, who's a major risk. We have a 19-year-old who looks pretty good. Might be a little bit of a risk, but he is a guaranteed top 9. We have Ramsey, who's 20 years old. Might be elite, probably not. 4 years out. Maybe a low elite, maybe a low 6. And we have Torres, who doesn't really look that great. So I'm not going to pin Torres. I think it got to be one of these overagers. And we only know one's guaranteed potential. And he looks actually pretty solid in terms of builtness. And he's not as old. Yeah, I think we're going to go for Jukka Heikkila, the 19-year-old. Guaranteed medium 9. And he is a 63 overall. At least we're getting some good overalls on these top 9s, because that means they may be developing in something. Maybe they don't, but still. Higher overall is better in a way, because if we lose players, obviously, they could replace them. Wow, I've already been recording for like 30 minutes, and I haven't even got to the re-sign stage and all that yet. So we got to do a little bit quicker, but, I mean, you guys wanted me to take my time at the draft, so we are going to take our time a little bit. I don't really know if there's going to be any better picks out here, though, for the rest of the draft. This guy might be medium elite. Matthias Grossman. You know what? We're going to take another goalie here. I know we don't technically need them, but he might be medium elite. He is medium fringe. Well, this guy could still maybe win us a Stanley Cup over some of the medium elite goalies, because mine as well. Let's see. Let's take a little bit more time with some of these other picks here, because now we're like in the low elite territory. So Tanev could be a low elite, but is he? Probably not. We're going to look through these attributes. That guy's probably definitely not medium elite because he wouldn't go that late. He is 3 years guaranteed out at 20. I don't really need more goalies, though. I just drafted one. And I don't think these guys are actually medium elites, to be honest, though. Let's see. Looking for good attributes here. Anybody with a bunch of Bs that is just hidden here. Gord Mendez. It looks like a low 6. I don't think we're going to find ourselves anything else that's hugely good in this part of the draft. Let's just take a chance on Tanev that he's going to be a low elite. Low 6. Yikes. But I mean, that's not much worse than the picks ahead of our pick. So, yeah, I just think this draft class is absolutely tragic. Like, a medium 7th going in the 5th round is not great. So, I don't think we're going to really get much else in this draft, but hey, at least we took our time a little bit with those earlier picks. I think we made some okay decisions. Obviously, we didn't get the defensive help we need, but we did address the center core a little bit in terms of prospects, because we have guys that now could replace like Addison down the road. I don't even know if the rest of these picks matter too much. Let's just sort by potential again and try and find ourselves a low elite here. That's supposed to go undrafted, not 20 years old. Looking for ones that are maybe a bit younger. Like Spurgeon here. Jason Spurgeon, he's 18 years old, could be low elite. Let's take a chance on him. Low bottom 6. Damn, man. Usually you see when I have like a potential chance to get a low elite in other series I've done. In these later rounds, I've actually hit on them. But for some reason in this series, it's just like the late picks don't even do anything. 20 years old again. You were 20. 18 for Bilesma. Is there any defenders? Doesn't look like it. Well, yeah, there doesn't look like any low elite defenders. So I have... Oh, there is maybe this guy in Blaine who's 20. But a 20-year-old low elite, they don't really develop that well. So I guess we might have to go for somebody else here. Let's look at these guys attributes-wise. Bickle, 19 years old. We'll take a chance on you, Pat Bickle. Why not? Low bottom 6 again. Yeah, that's an absolute tragic draft class. Not a good draft in terms of the later draft parts, but we got Komatov, who should be decent. Snyder and Heikkila might be decent for medium top 9s. Grossman as a fringe starter might be something. And then those other 3 selections, not too good. But honestly, we didn't have the best results from our scouts again. But I think we'll start to get to that point because we do actually have good scouts, but they just don't do their job as much. So we aren't going to re-sign Ricky McLeod, our associate coach, because we are going to be looking for a new head coach also in this offseason. I think it said I needed to bring back my scout, or did my scout retire? I think I need to bring back a scout. It was the QMJHL one, Farmer, right? I think I just saw, yeah, it's Farmer to re-sign. Perfect. There you go. You got your contract back. You might get replaced, but we'll keep you for now. Okay, re-sign stage. This is the more crucial part of this episode, obviously, in terms of who we got to re-sign. We have 46 out of 50 contracts, so we're going to have to let go of some AHLers. So let's start with the bottom of this list here and let go of some AHL players we're not going to hold on to, because obviously we got to clean house down there. Addison as well, like I was saying, yeah, I'm not giving you 17.25. Sorry about that, man. And Boucher will get his ELC. I don't know if he's going to play in the AHL right away, but we'll see. We are also going to bring in Lutz because he was a higher up pick. We're going to bring in Stewart even though he's not really developing. And then these other guys I think are going to not come into the team, unfortunately, just because I don't know if I can fit them in at the moment. Goalie wise, we don't have any goalies up for renewal in terms of NHL or AHL, which is kind of crazy. I am going to let Summers and such go because these guys I'm not going to sign yet, but we could sign them in a future year if they develop, which is good. Okay, so this is our contract scenario. Mangone and the RFAs, I think I might as well just qualify them. Yeah, I'm just going to qualify the RFAs because might as well while we want to save some money. Richter, I am going to give him a good contract extension now. We are going to try the 85% trick because I know that's what you guys wanted me to try. So let me open my calculator here and do some quick math. So $3,525,000. We're going to times that by 0.85. And we should be able to maybe get him on an 8-year deal at $3 million bucks, which would be decent. I know it's a little bit of a risk with Richter, but like I said, we're banking on the future for him, which is good. In terms of other guys, you guys were saying to bring back like Flood and Mathieu. There's a chance we might not bring them back, but it depends on how much they're asking for. Boys' contract is going to be an interesting one. He only wants a 3-year deal, which is actually not bad because I don't really want to sign him long term. 3 years only is not a bad option, but is he willing to take an 85% contract? Because I don't feel like I want to lock him up for super long term. Can I get him on an 85% deal? Because that would be very nice if I could. Because he's not the highest overall defenseman out there, right? So I should be able to get him for 5.9. We'll give him a tiny bit extra just in case, but I would be willing to do that. And then Flood, what are you asking for? Okay, so Flood is asking for a lot of money. There's a good chance I'm not going to bring him back. Just because of what you guys were saying about, well, not what I was saying is bringing in some AHL defensemen. He's trying to get paid almost as much as Flood, our Boys, if we give Boys that contract. What about Mathieu? 1.7 is not bad. But does he actually have a home in our lineup next season? I don't think he does. That's the main problem with Mathieu. Because if we look, we have, in terms of our forward core signed up for next season, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with Anderson. Hartman might draw in. Yeah, I think I'm going to let go of Mathieu as well. Which you guys might think I'm crazy, but I think we're going to let go of a couple guys just to shake up the team a bit more. So I think Flood, Mathieu are going to be gone for sure. I wouldn't mind bringing McLaren back as a depth defenseman. But we do have Cracknell we could use as a depth defenseman instead. But McLaren is a two-way defender, which we don't have a lot of. So what is he wanting? 950. That's actually not bad. We'll do 950 for a year. I'll take that as for a depth defenseman. He could even play in the AHL if need be, but I think that's not bad. We just now got to find out if Boys is willing to accept that contract extension. And yeah, Flood and Mathieu are likely both going to be gone. And hopefully Richter also signs that 8-year extension, because that would be very nice for this team. Let's see. Did we get some accepts on this team? Boys did not accept. Richter did not accept. Okay. Okay, let's try this again here. Let's try and give Richter a little bit more, like 3.15. I want him to lock up to this team long term. Show that he trusts this team going forward. Which, I mean, who would trust this team, to be honest? So, McLaren didn't accept the 950 for the year. Would you accept just over $1 million? Like, you're a depth defenseman. That's pretty much all you are. And Maddox Boys is still the interesting one here. I'll try and still see if I could take some money off his asking price, but 6.9 I might be willing to do for him. It's not outrageously expensive. Let's do 3 by 6.5. That's just like the standard contract for like a top 4 defenseman. Okay, did those guys accept? Ricardo Richter rejected, and same with Boys. Come on, boys. Oh my goodness, you gotta accept. You gotta lock up to this team if you can, please. Let's do a 3.3 for Richter. He deserves some money. Mine as well. We will go to the UFAs here and try and get Boys to sign his extension. Would he accept just the 6.925 he's asking for? I know it's a bit steep. I might have to buy him out at some stage, but for right now, let's see if he'll accept that, because I think he's kind of crucial to this team. In a way. And they both accept. Okay. So we have $10 million left in cap space. Anderson and Mangone will be relatively cheap, like $1 million or less per person. But I don't think I'm going to bring back Felipe Flood. Yeah, $4 million is quite steep for a 79. Mathieu is not bad for like a 1.7, but I don't think I'd have the room in the NHL. Because I'm still trying to think of what we'd have for our forwards. We'd have these 4 guys down the middle. I feel like Hartman should draw in. Sharov could still be a depth forward. Lehman, Lassick. We need still cap space as well, with Lassick being up for renewal next offseason too. Well, actually, we might not even want to bring him back with all the guys on the left-hand side. So Sergeyev also needs to be in the lineup full-time. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bring back Mathieu or Flood. Now, you guys might think I'm stupid on that. It's up to you on that front, but we are going to release both these guys. Best of luck to them in free agency, but we need to make some sort of a change to our organization a bit. Also free up some contract space. And I don't think I'm going to sign any of our unsigned prospects. I don't think so. With Komatov only being 17, that's actually kind of nice. He might develop into being a decent top 6 forward for us, but all these guys are going to be left unsigned. Sims could get signed for the AHL at his rate, but the only thing is, though, we already have 2 AHL goalies. I don't think we need a third one under contract, especially with that potential. So we are going to leave him unsigned for now, but let's advance to free agency. And I don't know what we're going to do in terms of bringing in a defensive coach. We're going to have to look for one. And we're also going to have to maybe look and see if there's any good scouts out there. Okay, so let's take a look at our coaching staff, see if we can find ourselves a good defensive associate coach that I could promote to head coach. Let's actually... Can I do this in the offseason where I promote him to associate? Yeah, I can. Okay, good. Just had to double check that I could actually move my coaches around. Okay, that's good. Scouting wise, we will also hire some scouts. So let's see, head coach wise, is there a defensive coach out there that might help us? Melikar, how good is your teaching? Only a B-, but you are a defensive coach. You are the best defensive coach out there. You're only 52, which means you might not retire. 58% team fitness is not the best, but let's take a look at these coaches for a second here. 58's not bad compared to some of the other guys out there, so yeah, I think I'm going to bring in that defensive coach. I think. Let me actually just go NHL head coach here. Is there anybody better, though, than Melikar on the defensive coach side of things? There is not. There's actually not a lot of head coaches out there. So yeah, Melkar is going to be our coach that we're going to go after for our head coaching job. We're going to give him a little bit more money just because we want him to obviously accept a contract with this team. So there is Oldrich Melkar. I don't know if he's going to actually be our full-time NHL head coach, but even if he's an associate having a defensive coach, that might help us out defensively a bit. At least what I'm hoping for. So there's that. We also technically need an AHL assistant coach, but I'm not going to hire one just yet because I want to be able to reorganize my coaching staff next season. And then scout-wise, is there any good scouts out there to replace our B potential ones? There is two. There is two. So Mahalik, we're going to sign you up. And we're also going to sign McDermott up. And then we're going to let go of 2 of our scouts here, which I'm going to have to write down where I'm letting them go from. So Russia and SHL. Okay. So we're going to fire you two, Russia and SHL, I think it was. Actually, Russia and USA Central is what we're going to go for. So let me just write this down on some paper so I don't forget. Russia and USA Central. Okay, perfect. That's set up. We'll get those scouts in, and hopefully we get that coach in. I don't even think I want to really look and see if there's any former players in free agency, but let's just take a look anyways. We're pretty late into this episode, so I don't want this to go too much longer, but not really seeing anybody there. I'm going to just look at the beginning of the free agent pool. Right wing wise, I guess. Yeah, I'm not really seeing any former players right now. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Okay, let's just sim up to next season. Get ourselves situated. And, yeah, should be an interesting season ahead. Obviously, I think we're going to be still a playoff team. But I don't really know for, obviously, how long Melkar accepts, which is nice. He's never had a head coaching job. That's the only problem with him. And we have Mahalik and McDermott accepting, which means I will have to assign them here shortly to their regions. Oh, my goodness. Mangone got a qualifying offer from Chicago. We are going to have to match that offer because we have the cap space, but $17.25 for a 77 overall defenseman. Don't really like that too much. We might as well stop and see if Anderson will accept a contract, as I don't want him getting a big contract from another team, because I think he's the only RFA, right? Yep. What does he want? $16.50. Okay, you got it. You got it. Okay, so we got both of our RFAs signed up. We have still cap space, which is good. We're trying to free up a little bit of cap space going forward, so that way we can easily re-sign some players that are bigger for our team. So hopefully we're able to get like Lassick back or something like that next offseason, but we might not need him. So it should be interesting to see what our team's looking like this season, though. I don't know what Lassick's going to want for an extension, too. We're going to have to take a look at that, but we don't want to overpay on the guy, too. We aren't going to look at our lines just yet. Let's first, though, readdress our scouts. So it was the 2 AHL ones. Let's see. I didn't want to hire ones. Okay, so it was 2 A-rated ones. So it was McDermott, who needs to go over to USA Central from AHL Central. So he's not moving too far, but there we go for him. And then the other one was AHL Pacific. You're going to get changed over to Russia. So you could go scout Ian. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so all that's nice and set up and ready to go. Let me take a look at Melikar's fit with the team now. 60%. Not bad. Not bad at all. We'll definitely take a look at our lines first and see how we're set up. We'll set them up the way we want them first beforehand. So let's see what we're working with this season. We already have best lines set up, and Richter jumped to an 84, which is amazing considering this extension. I like that. Third line scoring forward, so he actually might be a little bit lower than that. But let's readjust this a little bit. Let me look back at the comments again, or what Logan was saying about putting certain players with certain players. So we got to have Lehman and Ahinen together as like a second line duo. Wilm and Lassick together. We have Delarovere with who was it? Richter on the third line. I don't mind that. And then the rest of it could be just all up in the air on who's in what spot. So let's see. Hamalainen is a +4 on the top line, so we'll put him on the top line. Weber is a +3 on the second line. We'll put him on the second line. And then we'll have Sergeyev as a third liner. Anderson is the fourth line center. Habscheid shouldn't be that low, though. Yeah, because he's a sniper. So I might have to give him power play time to get him to not be a little bit low morale. We also do have Taro Haken to get in, so Sharov will be scratched. So Haken will get in. And we'll probably swap the side since Habscheid's a sniper anyways. Jeez, man. Yeah, we have way too much left wingers. Oh, they're both listed as third line scoring forwards. I'm going to have to give them both really good penalty kill time, I think. And then defensively, we want to get Paco. Is Paco listed as top 4? He is. Booze is also listed as top 4. We have a lot of guys listed as top 4s now. We'll split up the defensive pairings. Ian was saying to put Boys and Kolsnik together. And then Booze and Sea-Doo? Paco and Sea-Doo. That's an interesting scenario. So, oh man, that doesn't really work well with this coach though. So I guess we'll have to keep it like, not like this, but we might have to rework the coaching staff a bit. I did like the way the chemistry was set up in the beginning. But Mangone and Booze do not work on that top 6. That's definitely a thing. Nobody really works well with his top 6 except for Boys, which I don't know about having Maddox Boys as a top 6 defenseman. We could try it and then give him obviously power play time so he wouldn't lose morale. How much ice time was he getting last year? Because he was happy last year. 21 minutes. Okay, and we should be able to find a way to get him that ice time. Oh! Mateo Burkhoff did generate an X Factor. Whoever said that, I think it was Ian? Yeah, I think it was Ian, or maybe it was Souls that said it. Somebody said it. But Burkhoff has generated, what is this X Factor? Handled it. So he's got a 101 saves, which is not bad. He's up to an 88, which is kind of crazy. And then we have Solis on an 84. Huh. McLaren is actually listed as a top 6 defenseman. We might have to send him to the AHL, which I think I'm going to do just because I don't want him losing morale. Because he probably will lose morale if he's sitting on the bench. So we'll send him down. Oh my goodness. I did not expect Burst to jump to a 79. And Raymond and Hartman all 79s as well. We have a lot of guys that could jump to the NHL. I don't want to call up somebody that's listed as a top 6 defenseman is the problem because they lose morale. And I don't want to call up Hartnell or Turnbull. Actually, Turnbull would be okay, right? Yeah, he's low top 6D, but he's listed as a depth defenseman. So we'll call up Turnbull as our depth defenseman. And then Hartnell, Cracknell, and such like that could still play down there. But the AHL has so many good players down there. They should be a good team again this year. What about the goalies down there, Miners? They're almost ready too. So we're getting to the point where there's a lot of guys that should be in the NHL. So we might want to rework our defensive core a bit more in the NHL. We could send Mangone down if you guys think it's necessary again. And then we would have to call up Burish, Fraga, Payne, or Cracknell. So once again, we have another defensive dilemma. I need your guys' help with that. But I think Turnbull as a depth defenseman is okay, considering he has no potential. What else we got here that we could call up? Raymond could be in the NHL this season, but there's no really room for him on the offensive core. Unless we were to, like, buy out a player next offseason. Hartman, the same type of boat. Hartman could come up and replace Anderson almost at this rate, so, we do have some decisions. We do have some decisions, which is good. Let's just go best AHL lines for the time being. And let's go back to our edit lines screen here. And make sure everything is set up NHL and AHL wise. I will address the power play and stuff like that probably in between episodes, just because I don't want this episode being an hour long, and it almost is at this point in time. So I will address this afterwards, but I think this coach is not terrible. We probably will have to rework the second power play unit a bit. But in terms of chemistry in general, looks decent. The penalty kill looks maybe better than it has been in the future years or prior years. So that looks good. AHL wise, what do we got? Anybody to scratch it shouldn't be. Stewart should be in. McLaren probably should be too, but he is old. Is there anybody that should be scratched down here in the minors? Not really. Not really. Renault has only low 6 potential. I'm going to scratch him. And we're not going to put McLaren there. We're going to put Stewart in, just to get Stewart into the lineup a bit. We'll put him up here. Hartnell will try and get up where Bursch is. Bursch will move here. Cardwell, actually it's 2 right-handed defenders though. I'm trying to see if I can find a way to get rid of this minus, which does not seem to be the case unless I put Hartnell on the top 6. I mean, I will give Hartnell some power play time as well, but he's listed as a depth defenseman. We definitely have options. I like it. So that will get readdressed soon. Forward-wise is fine. For now, we'll readdress this afterwards. But yeah, that's a decent-looking team. And it's a decent-looking team again, but once again with the guys like Sergeyev and with Haken and also Habshai, these 3 guys need a lot of ice time because they're also going to lose morale because they should technically all be on this type of line, but they won't have that at the moment. So how long until Weber's up? 1 more year. Lassick also, I would honestly think about losing Lassick and Weber just so Sergeyev and Haken get more ice time, same with Habshai, but I don't know if that's something that would actually help our team or not. But I think that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate another season with our team, and we'll hope that this team obviously makes the playoffs, which should be doable. But the real question is obviously how long. And is it better than our prior years? Probably not. But it also, we could have a cheese goalie. Well, not a cheese goalie. A goalie that doesn't simulate that well in the playoffs because he's an 88. That's my problem with this team is I think the goaltending and the defensive core obviously is kind of trending downwards a little bit. But we have a lot of guys we could call up. And we could restructure our defensive core almost completely. Like, we didn't even really need to bring back boys to this team almost in a sense if we really wanted. But anyways, letting this thing down below. And I'll see you guys next time.